baseball.
I know you're so happy about it. I actually think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me!
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. That does it. Red Sox win it. 4-3 the final as they ripped off 7 straight wins. That's a game the Red Sox don't win a month ago.
I would agree with you there. Listen, it's been a great week. You knew it was going to be different during this series. You knew you were going to have to win differently. A low-scoring game. They battled Walker Buehler, 6 innings, 3 runs, kept you in the ball game like I said you'd sign up for. And then the offense just woke up there in the 7th inning. This is a really big win, a nice start to this series.
Dave and Lou were right about that. That was a nice win last night. It was the type of win that makes me waver a little bit, Milliken.
I think everybody's in that spot right now. I don't think it's just you.
I don't want to believe. I've been hurt too much by this team in the last 5 years to believe. That kind of made me want to believe last night. We'll get into it. And anything you want on the Baseball Hour Roundtable. It is a true Friday night in the summer because Tony Maserati is not here. It is the Matt McCarthy, Tyler Milliken, Jimmy Stewart takeover of the Baseball Hour. We'll get to you early and often tonight, 617-779-0985. And I think the Red Sox are as compelling as it gets right now. I think they are fun to watch. Do you believe? Do you not believe? Should you buy aggressively at the deadline? This is a fun time. This is a really fun time to be a baseball fan. It's a fun time to be a Red Sox fan. And it's a fun time to talk about the Red Sox because you could legitimately make the argument that this thing will crumble and crash and burn after the trading deadline. I don't mean to be so morbid.
It could happen in the next 10 or 11 days. If you're looking at the Cubs and the Phillies and the Dodgers are going through it. But if you want to make an argument, I think some people would hear it out. If they had lost last night, I think a majority of people are making that point today.
Yep, and if they lose tonight, this is as big an inflection point as there is in the Red Sox season. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
No,
that's the you know what the theme of the program, Milliken. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Preach.
You never know if I'll be here, you'll be here. I could get hit by a bus. Jimmy Stewart could take me out at the end of tonight's program. He could kneecap me.
Take us both out, Jay Stu, please.
Really? Only if Jared Carabas says I can.
Put me out of my misery.
Only if my baseball tribal chief says it's okay.
All right, Stu. Well, what do you want to say? We're going to do opening takes. That's how we generally do it on the Friday Night Roundtable. What is your opening take tonight before we get to the callers at 617-779-0985?
The Red Sox need to buy. They should have bought yesterday. Joe Ryan, a closer, whatever it takes. They should add to this team, and if you want to give up top prospects, that's fine by me because in the last 25 years, and we found out that it was Anthony Rizzo was the correct answer. Name me a prospect who has come back and bitten the Red Sox in the ass when you've traded for Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling, Chris Sale, Josh Beckett, and Mike Lowell, getting Jason Bay from the Pirates for Craig Hansen and Brandon Moss, getting Adrian Gonzalez, getting Craig Kimbrell. How about trading Anderson Espinoza for Drew Pomeranz? Anderson Espinoza at one point in time was the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball.
Killing it in the MPB right now.
Dave Dombrowski said, nope, fake prospect. Deal him for what we need. We need a left-handed pitcher who has a good cutter. We need to do that for John Farrell. But the idea is that Craig Breslow's job right now is to figure out which prospects are good, which prospects are bad. Theo Epstein did a good job of that. Dave Dombrowski did a good job of that. So this is where Breslow needs to make a decision and say, we are willing to trade these prospects to get Joe Ryan, to get another bullpen arm, to get another hitter, whatever it takes. These prospects, respectfully, Milliken, they're lottery tickets. So if the Red Sox have to deal Peyton Tolley, Password Garcia, anyone from the Devers trade, this Kyle Harrison kid, sorry, McCarthy, he's got a 7 ERA in Worcester in 3 games.
I still believe, Jimmy. I still believe.
The Red Sox need to be aggressive, make a deal today, tomorrow, Sunday, so that you bring in this player, these players, and they can settle into Boston during the All-Star break. And let's go with the at Chicago, at Phillies, Dodgers coming to Fenway, Minnesota Twins gauntlet, and let's keep on rolling. Let's keep the momentum of this 7-game win streak because Fenway, at least on TV, felt different last night. It felt energized. There was passion there. This fan base, since the Bregman signing, and Bregman comes back tonight, has wanted to be at Fenway Park, celebrate the team, win with the team. Let's go for the championship. Let's go for postseason baseball in October at Fenway Park.
I don't, Milliken, I'll let you get to your opening take in a second, but we generally don't interject and follow up on opening takes. I feel like that's not something we do, but I do rule the baseball hour when Maz is out with an iron fist. Stu's right about this, and I do trust Craig Breslow to figure out who's right and wrong, because his baseball decisions have been good.
Yes.
He's a good baseball general manager. His problem is communication. His problem is office politics. His problem is all of that. And that's a part of leadership, and Breslow doesn't have that. But I do trust him when it comes to baseball decisions, because most of his baseball decisions have been pretty good. The Rafael Devers thing was an ownership level decision. That wasn't on Breslow. Milliken, your opening thought.
Yeah, I think talking about Alex Bregman today is really the thing that's on everybody who is a Red Sox fan's mind. And shout out to Jen McCaffrey, a Jimmy Stewart intern. There was a great piece written today by her. And I know a lot of people are kind of questioning what's the future with Alex Bregman here. Rob Bradford recently reported in the last 24 hours that there hasn't been technical extension talks, but Craig Breslow earlier that day saying they hope he's here for a long time. Hell, even when they were telling him he made the All-Star team, Alex Cora couldn't stop talking about how much he loves Boston. But the piece I am referencing here, inside Alex Bregman's impact on the Red Sox, iPads, pop quizzes, at-bat instructions. Now, we've heard about the Marcelo Meyer, the Roman Anthony, the Christian Campbell stuff. We all know they've gotten suits. He's been sitting there with the iPad. Hell, you can't watch a Red Sox game right now without the camera immediately going to the dugout whenever Roman Anthony gets out, or Marcelo Meyer, because Alex Bregman has the iPad out, almost like a teacher and a student saying, look at this, I'm going to tell you what you did wrong. You see this on your homework? Number 2, number 3? Hey, idiot, do this next time. In a much loving way than that, obviously. But something spoke to me in this Alex Bregman piece, and I think it highlighted how big of an impact he's had on the culture already here. And you could talk about Anthony and Meyer and say, well, those are young guys, whatever. Look at the results of the team and where they're at. But there were 2 little blurbs in there, and one of them was with Ceddanne Rafaela. And I was a Ceddanne Rafaela hater. I never thought he wasn't a big league player, but no one has said over the last couple months, or really the last year or so, that he should be a super utility player more than me. Guess what? Egg on my face, I look like an idiot. It won't be the last time. There'll be many more times like that. But right now, Ceddanne Rafaela is tied for the highest F4 in the sport since June 1st, with Cal Raleigh and Juan Soto. He's 15th in F4 for the season. Now, we always talked about how much of that value came from defense. It's him and Dalton Varsho. They're the best center fielders in the sport. But since June 1st, he's hitting 311, 349, 631 with a 980 OPS. I almost passed out looking at that. And it's not because of some ridiculous BABIP luck or anything. We saw some of that in June and July last year when he went on that little bit of a run. But he had 3 homers going into June. The power's here. All of it's happening. This was the quote from Ceddanne Rafaela in this article. And this was a little meeting they had at the end of May when a lot of the expected stats for Rafaela were good, but the surface numbers weren't. And they were telling him he needed to pull the ball more. This is what he said about a cage session with Bregman. It started off with my mind because I'm the type of player in person that wants things to happen right away. The other part of it, he wanted me to have less hand movement. And he showed me a couple videos, and we went in the cage a couple times. He's been a huge part of what I'm doing right now. We're seeing this transformation for Ceddanne Rafaela. Trevor Story talks about in Cincinnati, a guy in Trevor Story who has an 886 OPS going back to June 1st, 41% better than league average. Who would have thought that Trevor Story was going to be found for the last, month and a half or whatever it may be? How he was getting ready for Cincinnati, and he had a plan against Chase Burns, rookie pitcher. They ended up roughing him up. Bregman went up to him and said, this is wrong. Let me tell you what you need to do right. And I know you love that, McCarthy.
Yes, I do, because Trevor Story is always wrong and doesn't know how to play baseball. That's correct.
We've seen him not have that same feel for hitting that an Alex Bregman does. And then Alex Bregman goes and helps him have a big game. And there's more talk in there how he's walking around and giving pop quizzes to people, making people feel like they had to study before they got to their group meetings and all this stuff for hitting at the start of a series. It used to be before every game. We hear they're back to doing some of the solo stuff like they did a year ago. But Bregman's walking around around and testing these guys, and now players are showing up to the meetings, having studied their pitchers, having come up with a plan, learning how all these things come together. You're seeing him help transform a guy like Ceddanne Rafaela, get Trevor Story back on track. Those are arguably the two guys that have kept this team afloat when you've gone 24-19 since Bregman went down. I don't think anybody thought they would have found a way to be having that record, and that was with Rafael Devers on this team.
And that's my opening take, Milliken. They survived without Alex Bregman. Bregman comes back tonight. When he went down, and this is before Devers was traded, I said Alex Bregman is the second most important player on this team after Garrett Crochet. I said he was more important to this team than Rafael Devers because he's a right-handed hitter and they don't have any right-handed hitters, and he's a winning ball player, and he's such an important guy from the culture because Devers was not a good culture guy. I think we understand that now, and I said that on Memorial Day. I was here on Memorial Day with Jimmy Stewart in that Brewers series when things were really starting to go sideways for the Red Sox, and I said, I don't think they can survive the Alex Bregman injury. I think he's that important. And somehow, some way, they have survived that injury. 24-19 without Alex Bregman is nothing short of a miracle, at least if you ask me, for this team, and given where they were when Bregman went down, not to mention, too, trading Rafael Devers to San Francisco in the middle of all of that. That's what this run is all about. Do I believe in this team as presently constructed? No, I don't. I still think they play dumb baseball. I don't think they're fundamentally sound. I don't think their manager holds them accountable enough. I don't think still their culture is good enough. Bregman, for the reasons that you just outlined in the great piece by Jen McCaffrey, is so important to all of that. He's been really important behind the scenes. Getting him back on the field is even more important, because now he has an opportunity to impact this team. He's not going to play every night, but most every single night here moving forward. It sounds like they're going to rest him once in the next 3 to 4 series, just to get him back up and running. But what is the message that he sent to this team by not going on a rehab assignment? The message is, we're here to win. Let's act with a sense of urgency. That sense of urgency has not existed in this Red Sox organization for years now. Frankly, it didn't exist until they signed Bregman, and I will give the front office and ownership some level of credit for this. When they signed Bregman, that was a move that signaled that they were serious by bringing in somebody with his personality and with his impact, not only off the field, but on. The fact that you get to slide Alex Bregman back into your lineup and he's going to hit second for you is a significant boost to this team, but it's not enough. And this ties into what Jimmy said. What this run is, this 7 games in a row, and what this run going into the deadline signals to me is that this team has done enough to justify buying at the deadline. Yes, the competition has sucked. Yes, all of that. But they went 24-19 without Bregman. They're now, 5 games above 500?
Yep, 5 games season high.
Whether or not you believe in them right now, and I don't, you have to go out and buy. And I don't believe in them because of the fundamentals and still the current state of the roster. But if you're aggressive and if you continue to change the culture by bringing in some impact big leaguers at the deadline, then I'll believe in you. I absolutely will. What a run they've been on. And they did it without Bregman. That if they make the playoffs, you will look back at the stretch without Alex Bregman and the end of it, the way they closed it out by winning 7 in a row, you'll look at that as the turning point in the season.
And the stuff he was doing behind the scenes, getting some of these guys to places where, let's be honest, the coaching staff hasn't been able to. Ceddanne Rafaela, we've seen struggle last year, go through it. We know he worked out in Miami and some of that helped. But you're seeing guys turn a page because you're changing the culture, because you have a clubhouse that's learning what it takes to win, what it means to have a guy like that in the clubhouse pushing you, like you had with Dustin Pedroia for such a long time. It shows the value of why Houston, say what you will about the cheating, was able to be so great for that 7 or 8 year span and continue to be a really good team because they built a culture of guys going around and making those younger players better. You're helping guys make that transition. You know, it makes me look at a guy like a Tristan Casas and stuff like that and say, I wish they had more time sitting with an Alex Bregman or whatever it may be. Because we've talked about some of these players on this team not making that jump early in their career. It makes me happy to see Alex Bregman getting Roman Anthony flipping flying. He already looks like a guy who could be a number 2, number 3 hitter for you every single day, and you don't have to think about it. But I think when you're talking about the outlook of the Red Sox right now, on the trade deadline last year, they had a 37.8% chance to make the playoffs. Today, right now, June 11th, 40.3.
I want to believe, Milliken. I want to believe.
Last night's win should give you reason to have hope because they were 2-29 when trailing after 6 going into that game. You're now 3-29. You were 9-19 in one-run games. You win one-run game.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. And Milliken has no idea what that's from.
So I do. It's The Godfather, right?
You've watched The Sopranos, haven't you?
I have. That's why I know.
I am blown away that Milliken has any pop culture reference whatsoever. All right. 1 for 1 tonight. This kid is hot. He's on fire. You want to talk to him. 617-779-0985. Who does the impression in The Godfather?
Sil.
There you go.
Come on, please. Me and the Red Sox, hot as hell.
You know who Silvio Dante is, right?
He was in a band. Is it the Eagles?
Sweet Jesus. All right.
I'm out. I lost.
Go to break.
Springsteen?
Yes, he just shamed himself. And he calls himself a baseball fan.
I'm a clown.
McCarthy and Milliken. Oh, no, Steve Van Zandt. He's in the Eagles, right? Kick him off the baseball show. What more can you say? What more can you say? It's the baseball.
struggled his last time out for Baltimore. He still hasn't got an out. He's given up 7 runs without giving an out in his last 2 appearances. The growth of Ceddanne. Again, we talk about him hitting hangers. This wasn't a hanger. It was a pretty decent pitch, but he just goes and gets it. Gives the Sox the lead here.
On this team at the plate. He's always been a good defender, and I think, that makes him a valuable player. But getting this from him at the plate is more than the Red Sox realistically ever could have asked for.
I don't think they ever imagined it being to this level. The talk was always, can he just be a league average bat? Can you get by? But Chad Jennings wrote a great piece, I want to say about a month ago. I talked about it, I think, a little bit on here, but was comparing him to Pete Crow Armstrong, who's been one of the biggest breakout players in the entire sport. Well, now Ceddanne Rafaela is following in his steps. The powers come in. He had only 3 homers going into June. He's hit, 9 since then? And it feels like every single night, I think for the last 6 games, he has an RBI in them. Every night, he's coming up with that big swing. You want him up there in clutch spots. And for a long time, it felt like he only came up in clutch spots. It's all the time. He's starting rallies. Talk about just what he did in that game last night. That ball on the dirt to get to second base, to set up so much of that was going on. Like, he is doing everything on the field so well. And yes, you're going to get the dumb moments. Yep. He's going to overthrow a cutoff guy sometimes. Guess what? It doesn't matter when you get to 3 or 4 baseballs every game that almost any other center fielder besides Varsho doesn't get to.
Yeah, it's the dumb stuff bothers me. It's running into outs, it's missing cutoff men, and hopefully they can beat that out of him, because he is such a great defender. And if he's doing anything close to this at the plate, it's a bonus. But it's his versatility too. And I think we should talk a little bit more about that, because the Red Sox have this logjam, and we know it. And one of the ways they can alleviate the logjam is by moving Ceddanne Rafaela around. This from Chris Cotillo a little bit earlier today, about 2 hours ago. Cora says Marcelo Meyer will play a lot of second and still some third on days where Bregman doesn't play. They plan to mix in Rafaela at second base once or twice a week. Tyler, and actually Jimmy, because Jared Carabas too, could you please pass along a message to Jared for me?
Sure.
What would you like?
Blah, 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 blah.
Can I do it
blah.
with you?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah,
blah. Oh, Ceddanne Rafaela playing second base. Didn't we have this discussion 2 nights ago, Jimmy? Were you witness to this discussion?
How dare you?
How
dare you attack my baseball
Jake
tribal
Stu,
chief?
don't tell him I did that, please. I don't want him to know about
How
that.
How dare you?
Blah, 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 blah. Acknowledge me, Jared Carabas. Hand in the air. Ceddanne Rafaela can help this team by playing second base. Once or twice a week, maybe against lefties, because they're not going to hit Meyer against lefties, because Marcelo Meyer can't hit lefties and is basically
going to have to Section 10 suspend you for that one, Matt.
You know what? That's okay. Blah, 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 blah. It's so nice to be right.
I think the other thing here is, too, if Bregman, like we've heard, he's going to sit one of these games out in the next 3 or 4 series, on those days, you can move Marcelo Meyer to third base, Ceddanne Rafaela at second, Jarren in center, Anthony in left, Will you're in right. All of a sudden, you're not panicking and worried that, one of our best bats isn't in the lineup. It kind of works out for everyone there. Do I think this is something we're going to see a lot of in August and September? No. But while you try to work out a deal maybe with Jarren Duran to another team, it gives you a little bit leverage, because we know teams across the sport, we've seen the reports the last couple of weeks, they know you need to trade an outfielder. Everybody's sitting there. They know you don't have much leverage. This could give you a little.
You don't have to, because you can put Rafael at second base. Now, I would still prefer to trade an outfielder. I'm trading Jarren Duran, and I know the fans told Craig Breslow not to. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm trading Jarren Duran to get something that I don't have, which is a number 2 starting pitcher, if that deal is out there. I am open. I would be open to trading Abreu, but I would prefer to trade Duran. I want to trade something that I have for something that I don't have. I want to make a baseball trade to make this team better, to make it fit a little bit better, because it is starting to fit a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it is starting to come together a little bit. Tonight's lineup, Duran, Bregman batting second. All of a sudden, your lineup looks real different with him batting second. Yoshida batting third, Narvaez fourth. That could be better there. But then Abreu, Story, who they still don't believe in because they're not hitting him clean up. Meyer, Toro, Rafaela. Listen, is it the 27 Yankees? No. But it's better than what you saw 2 weeks ago. I'll put it to you that way. To you, 617-779-0985. How about my guy, Jay in Norton? What's up, Jay? How you doing?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's going on? What do you got for us tonight?
Are you enjoying your new freshly seal coated driveway? It took 3 weeks.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. Much appreciated.
Hey, so as you know, I'm kind of fair weather fan. So this year, I was just curious. Out of the Red Sox, say go back to 03, 04, like any year they maybe ALCS or even World Series, like where were they at the trade deadline? And not that you know it off the top of your head, although you probably do. Just kind of curious, to look back and see where they were at those times, especially as they won the World Series. Were they in the same spot, similar, or kind of compare those two?
Do you want to go there yet on the Nomar Garciaparra trade, Rafael Devers trade?
It's a fun little angle if you're going to go back in time. I do think it's a different world when we factor in the third wild card that does exist today, but I think that's part of the reason to be optimistic with where the Red Sox are at, because there's more room to make the playoffs.
I don't want to go there just yet because they truly did make that trade for baseball reasons. They knew their defense was a problem, and they got 2 players who helped them defensively. For Devers, they got 0 players who are going to help them. You hope maybe Hicks turns into a back end of the, a bullpen type of arm. I'm not convinced about that. But you got, a starting shortstop in return for Nomar and, Minkiewicz, who helped them defensively. So there was a baseball argument to be made for that, whereas the Rafael Devers thing was not, in the end, made for baseball decisions and baseball reasons. What, though, if you do go out and improve this team at the deadline, you take on money, will we be able to make that argument 3 weeks from now? Maybe, but I'll still believe it when I see it when it comes to these guys, when it comes to this ownership group, when it comes to this front office.
Yeah, and when I look at it, I don't know if I see it as some people who want to be like, well, Rafael Devers was a cancer and bringing them down. They went on a 6-game losing streak right after they got rid of him.
Yep.
So, there's been bumps and bruises. I think what you're seeing is a young team kind of coming together, not in a way where it's like, oh, thank God Rafael Devers is gone, but hey, nobody believed in us. So many people thought we were going to wave the white flag. Let's show them that we're able to, be this young group that's kind of coming together, and it feels like they're all with Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. I think having them up there at the same time, and the Roman Anthony and Rafael Devers period of them being together was so short. But you look at that entire thing, it feels like there's a real wave of young guys here that are kind of forming this new core, this new outlook, this new culture with Alex Bregman at the top. I think that stands taller to me, that you're watching a young group that's going to do the roller coaster thing throughout the year. But I think that they're trying to prove it to everybody else.
They're doing it at the most important time. Because a week ago, you and I came in here with Maz, and listen, Breslow's been saying for weeks he wants to add at the deadline, he wants to be aggressive, and I mean, a week ago I said the most dangerous thing in sports is a general manager or an executive with something to prove, and I stand by that. But a week ago, this team was below 500. They were spiraling. And, you come in after the Cincinnati game where, they throw the ball all over the yard, and then they go to Washington. And, really the season, you could argue, was on the brink at that point. They got lucky in the sense that they hit a soft spot of the schedule when they needed to the most, but this team has taken advantage. Now they're 5 games above 500. They're going into the All-Star break. They've got a tough stretch after the All-Star break, but as we sit here today, because of this 7-game winning streak, whether it's against good teams or bad teams, the record is what it is, and there is actual justification for Breslow to go out and do what he wanted to do, which was add. And I think the reason he always wanted to add, at least in recent weeks, is he does have something to prove after the Devers trade. Like, they need to send a message to this fan base that they are serious about it, and all of those things. That was a hell of a lot harder to justify when you were 2 games below 500. It's a hell of a lot easier to justify when you're 5 games above 500 and you're sitting in a playoff spot. This winning streak, Tyler, happened at literally the most important time of the season, because now it justifies them and forces them to go out and improve this team.
Yeah, you were on life support. That's really where you were at, and credit to them. They went and did something where, for years, we've said you need to take care of business against bad teams. How often the last 2 years did we talk about them not handling business against the White Sox, and how infuriating and frustrating it was to watch them play down to competition? Those last 2 series, they took the Rockies and Nationals, bashed their head into the ground, no close games. And last night, you played a close game against a good team, and you found a way to win. That's the stuff that stands out, and it's different. And you see how momentum can be contagious, just like it can go in the other direction when you're throwing the ball around and doing these dumb things. It felt like last night with that young group, with every hit, with every moment, they're believing more in themselves. They're seeing the vision, and that doesn't mean there's not going to be bumps. I'm not telling you it's going to be a perfect ride from this point forward, but you're seeing the future do it in the present, and that's what's so exciting. And Craig Breslow knows That quote saying that I think we're going to have more wins at the end of the year than if we had kept Rafael Devers. If you fail this year, if it goes down that tube, that quote will be talked about again and again and again. It just like Heim, it's going to be awesome. We heard that so many times.
I do think that there is a real chance that at the end of the season we're looking back and we've won more games than we otherwise would have.
He needs to put it on the table and be right. He wants to be right. Nobody wants to be more right than Craig Breslow. How can he be right? You go and make that deal and you show everyone, hey, I'm serious. I'm going to find a way to make sure we're in the playoffs, or we at least would have been better than we would have been without Devers. And like you said, it's dangerous. But guess what? When you play these risks, there's a chance he hits again. And for the most part, he's hit on a lot more of his baseball moves than he hasn't.
And you make the deal today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You add to the team that's going to Chicago. And I almost had that political guy who was like, we're going to Chicago, and we're going to Philadelphia, and we're coming home to play the Dodgers, and then we're going to Minnesota. Ah! That's what they should do, though. They should make the trade before they go back on the road against the Cubs. Add to this team. Do it now.
Nothing like a good 21-year-old Democratic primary reference from 2004 to really get the juices flowing.
I'm 44 and balding and fat. I'm on old.
That's right.
I'm 27 and I'm getting there right now, Jason.
Even Milliken, I think, kind of understood the reference. Kids on fire. Outside of thinking that Silvio Dante was the guitarist in the Eagles. But other than that.
I love the haircut, though, Tyler.
Thank you. Rough day for Tyler Milliken on the haircut front.
2 out of 3. It looks outstanding.
Thank you. I'll take it. I was wearing the bangs down earlier. It was a little bowl cutty. We're trying different things. I was in the bathroom. I was crying. I was trying to do some different stuff to it. But here I am, 6 p.m. and I
Just
show
the
up.
next time Zolak haircut shames you, call him fat.
If I say that, I don't think I'm making it home today.
Or ask him, how would he know? How can he see you?
Zoe can handle being called fat. I watched chief engineer, director of engineering, Dennis Knudsen, tell Zoe he had put on some weight.
See, I like when
I told him that after I witnessed him haircut shame you. I was like, oh, you're fat and you only got one eye.
And you know what? I'll add, Zoe had no response to Jay Stu. He just took it. He took it like a champ. I think he respected you more for it.
You don't want to mess with Stu. I've seen Stu try to put somebody in the Stu got you hold. It's not.
And nobody's gotten out of it.
I've been in the hold, and it's a terrifying place to be. Never again.
Here's Kevin Majori with the update.
Essential.
Baseball Hour with Tony Maz on the Sports Hub.
Love it. The scene last night on Van Ness Street outside of Fenway Park. Craig Breslow waiting for his car to be pulled around, and the fans chanting at him, "Keep Jarren Duran. Keep Duran." Milliken, your thoughts?
It speaks to, I think, the amount of fans and like Jarren Duran's popularity in the game. I couldn't believe when I saw this tweet from Max Sorello today, who does a great job for the Boston Herald. You know, since opening day, he's 12th in all of baseball in jersey sales. When we've talked about a guy kind of being like beyond a Red Sox star, someone that kind of transcends some of those things, he is that guy, even though his performance this year, doesn't really deserve that. Last year, obviously 8th in MVP voting. This year, he's been about a league average bat with below average defense, still a 1.5 WAR player. But truthfully, for Craig Breslow, I don't think he cares. Like, if he was willing to trade Rafael Devers and make a move like that, and we know they were shopping him in spring training, I don't think he's scared to move anyone. And I think at the end of the day, he'll make bold moves to make the team, at least in his eyes, better. And I think Jarren Duran's going to be that guy, because right now, look at the smoke. Look what you're hearing around here. The Padres, Sean McAdam reports today that, they are consistently going after him. They've been almost relentless. I believe that's the word he used. We know before 2024, there was talks of a Duran for Dylan Lesko trade. And Dylan Lesko was a top 100 pitching prospect at that time, obviously before Duran broke out like he did. But I think Duran's still the most likely guy to go. I think seeing him in center field yesterday is another showing where he looks so much more comfortable in center field.
Yep.
Allows his athleticism to play. He mentioned when we talked to him on the podcast that balls off the bat, he kind of has a hard time reading. So I think
it's easier in center field than it is in the corner.
That's it. It lets his athleticism play, and he's a better player than he's been this year. He's been on an absolute heater. Hitting streak came to an end yesterday, but he, in the month of July alone, right now, he is rocking 188 WRC plus. He's 88% better than league average. The power's showing up again. I just think for where they are right now, we know Roman Anthony's learning left field for a reason. That's what it is.
Yeah, just in time to boost his trade value.
Yep.
Which is what you want, because they missed an opportunity to trade him this past offseason. They should have been more proactive in this. But
isn't it crazy to think if you had moved him, your two best players from last year would not even be on this team?
Well, I mean, if they move him at the deadline, which they should, let me rephrase. When I say they should move him at the deadline, I am not moving him for prospects. I'm not doing that. I will keep the logjam and figure it out this offseason. I'm moving Jarren Duran for an impact major leaguer. And I hope you can find a trade partner who's willing to do it. I think it's probably easier to find a trade partner to make that type of deal happen in the middle of the season than it's ever been, because there are going to be teams out there who are going to middle it. They're going to buy and sell because of the addition of the third wild card, and they might be willing to give you something off of their big league roster for Jarren Duran because they're trying to change up the room. They're trying to change up the thing. The Red Sox should not get a prospect for him or really anybody at this deadline. If you are making a trade and you are trading somebody off of your big league roster, I want a big leaguer in return. I'm done with prospects. It's time to win. It's time to win now. Jarren Duran should get you an impact major leaguer and hopefully an impact pitcher.
I think it's a tough and nuanced conversation, because in a lot of ways, when you talk about moving a guy in Jarren Duran, who has multiple years of team control, as we know after this, won't be a free agent, I believe, until 2028. But when you have a guy like Jarren Duran trying to acquire a team with a young number 2 starter or something like that, usually a team trying to acquire Jarren Duran isn't trying to trade a pitcher that would be on somewhat of a similar timeline. You're essentially trying to do a bigger version, a big league version of the Nick York for Quinn Priester trade, right? Take one thing your organization is lacking and swap it out with a similar thing of the thing you need. I think for Jarren Duran here, and we can talk Joe Ryan and the Twins, right? Seems like somewhat of a weird fit for a team that if they sell Joe Ryan, they're signaling a rebuild. But if you're the Padres and they really don't have the pitcher you're looking for, they have Michael King and they have Dylan Cease, guys who are going to be free agents. I don't think Craig Breslow's interested in rentals at this point. I think he wants a controllable piece if you're trading away a guy like Jarren Duran. AJ Preller is one of the madmans of baseball. He will make a trade happen no matter what. Is there a way to do a 3-way deal and you bring in another team and they're, kind of taking on the Padres get Jarren Duran. You're able to get a starter from this third team. They take the prospects from the Padres, and this whole thing works out.
It happened. It was Manny Ramirez to the Dodgers, Jason Bay to the Red Sox, and then Craig Hansen and Brendan Moss to the Pittsburgh Pirates. It made everybody happy. And that, by the way, was almost a deal that included the Marlins for a right-handed hitter named Mike Stanton, who became Giancarlo Stanton.
But that's it. It's hard to find these deals. I'm willing to acknowledge that. But when you've put yourself in this spot where you did trade a Rafael Devers, and if you're that serious about winning, guess what? You need to get crazy. And so far, can you be bold? Craig Breslow is bold. We just got to see it happen.
Nomar was a 3-team trade. Actually, Nomar was a 4-team trade, right? Because the Cubs were involved, the Twins were involved. The Red Sox were involved, and were the Dodgers involved?
No, in that one? the Dave Roberts deal was for Hanley Stanley. That was an outfielder, right-handed hitter. It was a separate deal,
separate trade. But I thought there was a 4th team involved in the Nomar trade. So
no, Detroit, it was the Twins, Expos, and Red Sox,
and the Cubs, right? Because
and the Cubs, yeah,
right, yeah, because Orlando Cabrera came from the Expos.
Yes,
so it was a
wrong 4th team on our part.
There we go. I knew there was a 4th team involved.
Trying to think recent.
It can happen.
Yeah, 3-way deals. The Josh Winkowski, Andrew Benintendi deal was a 3-way deal. The Mookie Betts trade was supposed to be a 3-way deal, as we all remember, before the medicals failed on
it happens all the time.
Gratterall.
If you have a general manager who's creative enough, it happens all the time. It's a good point you make, Milliken, that to increase the return for Duran, you might need to bring in a team that is selling. That team gets prospects from the Padres, and the Red Sox get big leaguers from the third team in this scenario.
And that way, everyone's kind of getting their back scratched. And a lot of people know, if you're talking Padres prospects, and I'm not trying to get too deep in here, but Leo DeVries, he's a shortstop, a guy, him and Ethan Salas are kind of their two main chess pieces. They don't make a lot of sense for where the Red Sox are right now.
I don't want prospects. I want big league players. And the thing is, though, I don't think the fans as a whole want Duran gone.
No,
like that chanting at Breslow last night. That's not just a couple of fans. I mean, I hear from people all the time. I've been saying for months now that Duran is not a part of their future and he's going to get traded. And people can't really wrap their heads around it. They either don't want to or say, "Well, this doesn't make sense. He's young." Like, no, actually, he really kind of isn't. He's not your left fielder of the future. That's Roman Anthony. Like, he's got to go. I'm sorry, he's got to go.
That's why the Ceddanne Rafaela thing. Like, I hear people saying trade him at his highest value. He's a right-handed outfielder. On top of it all, keep in mind you have lefties. Like, we've talked about needing to balance this lineup for so long. Ceddanne Rafaela is now a major part of helping balance out that lineup. So.
Doesn't fit.
No, it's what it is. And it's unfortunate because I think we've seen him, and when you lacked leadership in a lot of ways, Cora tried to groom him. And I think from an on-the-field standpoint, how hard he plays, those are things you fall in love with because there's a lot of dirt dog qualities. Even when he does some of the dumber things you see out there, that can be appreciated. But when you're looking at what this window is, Wilyer Abreu leads your team in homers right now. He plays the best right field in baseball in the hardest right field.
And Duran can't field. He can't.
And Abreu's been showing signs of life against left-handers. Duran doesn't hit left-handers. That's just been a consistent issue.
Yeah, this is just something that fans are going to have to accept. Like, he needs to go.
Can I be honest with you, McCarthy? I do think it's going to have an impact on that clubhouse when they trade him because I think he is a very important part of what they're doing. Bregman is the guy there, but there's a reason Anthony goes between Bregman and Duran. You see Duran's on the top of those dugout steps. It's really him and Crochet doing all these celebrations and going nuts. I do think he kind of serves as like the older guy for that younger crew, and there's going to be a little bit of an impact of him going.
I hear that from fans all the time. Oh, he's a leader. Why would you want to trade him? He's the leader. He's the captain of the SS 500. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't won anything, and that's unfair to put on him totally, but changing over this culture is something they need to. It needs to be Alex Bregman's team. If it's Jarren Duran's team, you're not going anywhere. I'm sorry, and that's I'm not trying to be mean to the guy, but like it is what it is.
I do think there are different types of leaders, though, and I think he's a little bit of the run through the wall kind of guy.
You
can find them.
He can't be one of your guys. He needs to be, if you're talking about a clubhouse of 26 guys, you want to have 5 guys really leading the way. He needs to be a part of the next 5.
I agree. I think that's the exact right way to frame it. 100%.
Because he is, when things are going well, he's an energy guy, and there's on and off the field.
Contagious. You see when he could be the spark plug.
when things aren't going well, he's also an energy guy.
Yeah, and he starts to get down, and you see it.
I just don't think that's something you want your young players really gravitating towards. And if he's a leader, he needs to be a part of that second group, not the first. How about Kathy and Quincy? Hey, Kathy. Oh, Kathy.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. The reason I was calling is I wanted to mention, I agree with Mike Felder. He was on the NBC show Monday night, and he said that the Red Sox weren't doing all that good, but since they made the trade of Rafael, they're doing better.
They've won 7 in a row, and I got to let you go on that, Kathy, because we're up against it. Because I need to educate Tyler Milliken on something.
Please.
I guess I just tried to educate Red Sox fans on why Jarren Duran actually isn't, you should be okay with him getting traded. You could say I'm actually talking down to Red Sox fans. One might perceive that. You want to hear talking down to fans and telling fans who they really are? A moment in baseball history that has come up in the last 24 hours. Milliken has never heard it. We will educate Tyler Milliken on who the fans truly are, and we'll do that next.
This is the Baseball
All right, wrapping up on the roundtable on the baseball hour tonight. Hey, Milliken, you want to stick around for the next 4 hours with me and well, Skaz is here, of course.
Well, you mentioned
Skaz.
Yeah. Now you're kind of speaking to me a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
No, I have this thing going on tonight that has popped up that I'm going to be doing. What time does the show end?
It ends at 11 o'clock.
Oh, it ends at 11:10, unfortunately. Very busy, very busy. I'm sorry.
Are you going to Fenway?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Sorry.
Milliken is just will do anything, literally anything, to not spend the next 4 hours in the studio with phones that are giving us a great sound. It's going to be an interesting night. But I want to end your night, Milliken, with a real life lesson of how you treat the fans. Former Phillies and Cubs manager Leah Leah passed away yesterday.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to the great Leah Leah. He is responsible for my money. The greatest rant in the history of sports. You think I was tough on Red Sox fans? Listen to the way that Leah Leah talked to Cubs fans in 1983.
I'll tell you one thing. I hope we get hotter than just to stuff it up them 3,000 people that show up every day. Because if they're the real Chicago fans, they can kiss my ass right downtown and print it. They're really, really behind you around here. My ass. What the am I supposed to do? Go out there and let my players get destroyed every day and be quiet about it for the nickel-dime people that show up? The motherfuckers don't even work.
Oh, my God.
That's why they're out at the game.
He's cooking, bro.
They want to go out and get a job and find out what it's like to go out there and living.
Oh, my God.
85% of the world's working. The other 15 come out here. Got guys busting their ass and them people too. And that's the Cubs? My ass. They talk about the great support that the players get around here. I haven't seen it this year.
And that is the Leah Leah rant. Directed at Cubs fans.
That's what I picture after getting swept by the Angels. I hope that's what was happening in the Red Sox clubhouse with Alex Cora, because that's the kind of attitude they're going to need to make it through the rest of the season and hold on to a wild card.
No,
spot.
Cora was telling the media off the record that it wasn't his fault; it was the players.
It's the organization. It's Chaim Bloom's fault. He told us not to believe in fundamentals.
You may be
And
surprised.
it's Rafael Devers' fault because he's not here.
We can't hit fastballs.
Even though I
Rafael
protected him
Devers.
for months and months and months.
You may be surprised that he did not make it through the rest of that year, and that was after a 5-14 start. When you call your fans nickel and dimers and say they're jobless and should go get a job, and basically the lowest of the low, and that 85% of people in the world work, the other 15% come out here to day baseball. Because remember, this is 1983, still no night games at Wrigley Field. So yeah, that's. You know what? That's how you talk to your fans.
I thought you were about to
Put them in
tell
their
me
place.
they went on like this nice run. Maybe they got eliminated the first round of the playoffs. No.
Certainly was not 1988's Morgan Magic of 21 out of 22.
It definitely was not. And on that note, we get to let Jimmy Stewart, Kevin Majori, and Tyler Milliken go home.
I'm sorry.
I'm here. I'm just going to keep on talking. Skaz is going to join me. What are we going to talk about tonight? Who's to say? Thanks for hanging out, Milliken.
You have something to tease for the baseball fans coming up tonight, though.
Yes, Ian Kundle from Sox Prospects will be joining us. Brian Robb, turns out, is at NBA Summer League because I definitely knew that Summer League was going on when I texted him.
Man.
We're going to pull him away from a Vegas casino. We got all of that coming up tonight on the Joe Murray program with no Joe Murray. Quick update from Majori. Then I'm back.